Okay, so we're going to factor trinomials today. And we're going to be doing it in the past. They've all had an a here of 1. It's always been over here. Now today they're going to be more than 1. So these can be pretty complex to factor. So here's a method called the slip and slide that makes it easy. So first we check and see on every problem, especially on a quiz or a test, we check and see, can we factor out a greatest common factor? If we can't, we're going to apply this method if a is greater than 1. We're going to slip a, the value of a, we're going to slip it to the end of the trinomial and multiply it to. That's step number 1. Step number 2, we're going to factor this new basic trinomial, just like you were doing in the fluency. Step number 3, you're going to divide both your factors by the value you slipped over in step 1. Divide them both by 8. Fourth step, you're going to reduce fractions. Very important step. Reduce fractions and slide any denominators up next to the variable. Slide any denominators up next to the variable. So let's see what we're talking about here. Okay, so on the first one, we're going to take this 2. We're going to slip it over here to the end. So now we have x squared plus 5x plus 2 times 3, 6. Now we're going to factor this. So we're going to set up the factoring. It's set up. Now look at my signs, either both positive or both negative. Look here. Oh, they're both positive. Then your positive signs. Now the factors of 6 that add to 5. I've got 1 and 6. I've got 2 times 3. 3 and 2 add to 5. So I have 3 and 2. Now we're familiar with up to this step. Now we're going to take a and slipped over there. We're going to divide each of these by 8. 3 halves, 2 halves. Now reduce the fractions. This one we can reduce to 1. This one not. So now it says slide any denominators up next to the variable. So we're going to slide this up next to the variable. So we're going to have 2x plus 3. And on the next one, we're going to have x plus 1. We reduced it to 1. You see that? Let's look at the next one. So on this one, we're going to take the 5. We're going to slide it over here to the end. So it's going to leave me m squared minus 17m plus 5 times 6, 30. Now I'm going to set up to factor this. So open parentheses here and here. And m here and m here. Next step, I'm going to look at my signs. I look right here, either both positive or both negative. I look here, oh, they're both negative. I got a negative here and a negative here. Now I want two factors that are going to multiply to 30, add to negative 17. What do we have? We have 1 and 30. We have 2 and 15. Well, these add to 17. Okay, so we've got 2 and 15. Now, next step. Take a that we slid to the other end. Take a and divide it by the factor here. So that's 5. That's 5. So, okay, so this is going to be 5m minus 2. And this is going to be m minus 3. M minus 3, because we reduce 15 over 5, it's 3. Everybody see that? All right, let's look at another one. So on this one, okay, let's slip this or slide this over here to the end. So I've got y squared minus 5y minus 6 and 4 is 24. Okay, I'm going to set up to factoring. Put a y here, a y here. I'm going to read signs. This is going to take a positive times a negative to give me this sign. I look over here, the negative has the larger number with it. So I'm going to put the negative here. I'll put the positive here. Now I've got to find two factors that multiply to negative 4, add to negative 5. So let's see what we have. We have 1 and 24 with 2 and 12. We have 3 and 8. We have 4 and 6. 3 and 8. 3 and 8. The difference, positive and negative, the difference is 5. So that's the one we want. The larger one went here. 8. This is 3. Okay, now let's take our 8 that we slid to the other end. 6. Let's hide it here. Let's divide it here. Now, let's reduce. So I have y minus, if I divide 2 into each one of these, I have 4 thirds. Here, I've got y plus 1/2. I'll reduce that. Now, let me slide these over to the variable. So we've got 2y minus 1. And here we have 2y plus 1. Everybody see that? One last one on this. Let's see. Okay, so here we're going to slide this 12, slip it right over to the end. So we have c squared plus 11c minus 5 and 12 is 60. Then we're going to set up to factor that. We're going to c here, a c here. Our signs, either both negative or both positive. No, the positive and negative, aren't they? It takes a positive and negative to get this. The positive is the larger number. Okay, positive is the larger number. Now, factors of 60, whose difference is 11. So 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15. Now, the difference between 4 and 15 is 11, isn't it? 11. Okay, so the larger one goes here, 15, the 4 goes here. Now we're going to come back and divide them by 12. 12 here, 12 here. So that's c plus 3 will go into this 5 times, 3 will go into this 4 times, times c minus 1/3. Okay, last step. Let's move the 4 over here, 4c plus 5. Let's move the 3 over here, 3c minus 1.
Is it a 1 over 3?
Right here?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay. We're going to turn over to the back and work on the other problem. Now, this is one where they want you to remove the GCF. Remove the GCF. So let's see right here. Now, we need to know what the GCF is. How much can we remove here? So if we look at this, we can find that out. We have 20, we have 52, and we have 24. So let's break them down. 2 and 10, 2 and 5. So that's the factors of 20. Let's look at 52. We have 2 and 26. We have 2 and 13. At 24. 24, we have 2 and 12. We have 2 and 6. We have 2 and 3. Okay, let's look for common. Here's a 2. Here's a 2. Here's a 2. So we certainly have a 2 in common. Okay, let's look at this 2. 2. 2. That's another 2. Now, here's a 5. No 5s. Here's a 13, no 13s. Here's a 3, no 3s. I have 2 times 2. So my greatest common factor for these 3 numbers is 4. So let's take that. Let's take our problem. Our problem is 20n squared minus 52n minus 24. Now, let's take 4 out of each term. So it's going to be 5n squared minus 13n minus 6. Now, let's apply the method. So here we're going to have 4 and 2. We're going to move this 5 to the other end. n squared minus 13n minus 5 times 6 is 30. Okay, now let's begin the factoring process. So here we have n and n. Now, look at the signs. This is negative, so it's going to be a positive and a negative. The larger number is going to be the negative. So we have a negative and a positive. Now, factors of 30. Factors of 30. Let's see what we have. They have to add, the difference has to be 13. So I've got 1 and 30. I've got 2 and 15. Now the difference in those 2 numbers is 13. So I'm going to put my 15 here. I'll put my 2 here. Okay, now the next step, the last step is to take the 5 that I factored out, that I slipped to the end, take it, divide it here and here. So I'm going to have 4 on 2. Now this, I'm going to reduce this, right? That's going to be n minus 3. Here, I'm going to have, slip this 5 over here, 5n plus 2. So that's going to be my answer. Okay? Any questions? Y'all can go ahead and go to work.